You think persistence is the problem, that you're chasing too hard, that every text you send is another brick in the wall between you and her. But what if the real issue isn't that you're trying, it's that you're trying without a map? What if there's a version of pursuit that doesn't drain your self-respect, doesn't make you feel like a beggar at her door, but actually proves you understand the game better than 90% of men ever will? Here's the truth no one wants to tell you. Sometimes walking away is the right move, sometimes it's not. And the difference between those two outcomes isn't luck. It's whether you can read the 5 specific signs that tell you she's worth the fight, or whether you're just feeding a fantasy that's bleeding you dry. Let me be clear from the start. This isn't about manipulation. This isn't about tricks or scripts or pretending to be someone you're not, so she'll finally see your value. This is about discernment. This is about knowing when a woman is actually conflicted, pulled between real attraction and fear, between wanting you and protecting herself, and when she's just comfortable with the attention you provide while her heart and her body are pointed somewhere else. Most men can't tell the difference. They mistake politeness for interest. They mistake breadcrumbs for a trail back to something real. And they waste months, sometimes years, pouring energy into a connection that was never going to become what they needed it to be. So before you send that next message, before you plan that next grand gesture, before you convince yourself that one more conversation will finally break through, pause and ask yourself if you're seeing the signs, or if you're just seeing what you want to see. And listen, if you're someone who knows you need these reminders, if you know that left to your own devices, you'll rationalize yourself back into a situation that's costing you your peace, hit that subscribe button right now. Not for me, for you. Because the comfort of delusion is strong, and the voice that tells you the hard truth needs to be louder than the one that tells you what feels good in the moment. You need a consistent source of clarity. You need to be around the kind of energy that doesn't let you lie to yourself. So subscribe, because this channel is built for men who want the truth more than they want the fantasy. Now let's talk about what it actually means when I say keep trying. Because most men hear that phrase, and they think I'm giving them permission to go back to the same desperate energy that wasn't working in the first place. No, trying doesn't mean flooding her phone. It doesn't mean showing up unannounced. It doesn't mean writing her letters about how much you've changed, or how deeply you feel things. Trying means strategic, grounded, self-respecting effort. It means you move toward her from a place of strength, not lack. It means every action you take either builds your value in her eyes, or it doesn't happen at all. And that's where the 5 signs come in. Because without them, you're not trying, you're just volunteering for emotional irrelevance. Sign number 1. She initiates contact, even if inconsistently. This is the first filter. If every single conversation between you and her starts because you reached out, you're not in a dynamic, you're in a monologue. She's a passive audience to your effort. And I don't care how sweet she is when you do talk. I don't care how much she laughs at your jokes or how warmly she responds. If she never picks up the phone first, if she never sends the random text, if she never creates a reason to re-engage, then her interest is reactive at best. She likes the feeling you give her. She doesn't crave you. And there's a galaxy of difference between those two things. But if she does reach out, even sporadically, even after silence, that tells you something important. It tells you she thinks about you when you're not there. It tells you that you occupy mental real estate. It tells you that whatever distance exists between you isn't indifference, it's something else. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's confusion. Maybe it's circumstance. But it's not apathy. And apathy is the only thing that should make you walk away permanently. Now here's the key. Inconsistency is not a deal breaker here. In fact, inconsistency is often a sign of internal conflict. And internal conflict means she's wrestling with something real. Women who reach out once every 2 weeks, who go silent and then suddenly ask how you've been, who message you late at night and then seem distant the next day, these are not women who don't care. These are women who care and don't know what to do about it. Maybe she's scared of getting hurt. Maybe she's not sure you're serious. Maybe she's comparing you to some ideal she hasn't let go of yet. But she's thinking about you. And that gives you something to work with. Contrast that with the woman who only responds when you engage her, who never wonders where you've been, who treats your attention like ambient background noise. That woman has made her decision. She just hasn't told you yet. Sign number 2. She shares real information about her life. Not surface pleasantries. Not polite updates. Real things. Her fears. Her frustrations. The thing her family did that's been bothering her. The decision she's struggling to make at work. The memory that came up that made her feel a certain way. When a woman lets you into the interior of her experience, when she trusts you with the parts of herself that aren't performative, that's a sign of emotional investment. Because women are selective about who gets access to their inner world. They'll be charming with 100 men, they'll be funny and flirty and engaging, but they'll only be vulnerable with the few they're actually considering. So if she's opening up to you even in small doses, even in ways that feel tentative, that means you're not in the friend zone and you're not in the nice distraction zone. You're in the evaluation zone. She's testing whether you can hold space for her complexity. She's testing whether you react with judgment or with groundedness. She's testing whether you're safe. And here's what most men get wrong. They hear something vulnerable and they try to fix it. They offer solutions. They jump into problem-solving mode because they think that's what strength looks like, but that's not what she's asking for. She doesn't need you to fix her life. She needs you to prove you can witness her without flinching. She needs you to stay calm when she's not. She needs you to listen without making it about you. That's the test. And if you pass it, if you can sit in her emotions without trying to control them or escape them, you become someone irreplaceable. Because most men can't do that. Most men hear a woman's stress and they either minimize it or they take it personally. But the man who can just be present, the man who can say, "That sounds hard, I'm here if you need me," that man stands out. That man becomes the person she thinks about when things get heavy. So if she's sharing with you, don't rush past it. Don't treat it like small talk. Recognize it for what it is, a doorway. Sign number 3. She reacts emotionally when you pull back. This is the acid test. Because if a woman truly doesn't care, your absence is just absence. It doesn't register as a loss. It doesn't create a ripple. But if she notices when you stop reaching out, if she asks why you've been distant, if she seems irritated or hurt or confused when you're not as available, that's a sign that your presence matters. And I'm not talking about playing games here. I'm not telling you to disappear just to see what happens. I'm saying that in the natural rhythm of your life, when you're genuinely busy or genuinely focused on something else, pay attention to how she responds. Does she reach out? Does she seem off balance? Does she try to re-engage? Or does she just continue on as if nothing changed? Because here's the thing. A woman who's invested in you will feel the shift when your energy moves away from her. She might not articulate it clearly. She might not even understand why she feels different. But she'll feel it, and she'll respond. Maybe she gets a little more flirtatious. Maybe she initiates plans. Maybe she asks if everything's okay. That's her subconscious trying to pull you back into orbit. That's her realizing, on some level, that your attention isn't guaranteed. And that realization, that little spike of uncertainty, that's what shifts the dynamic from you chasing her to both of you leaning toward each other. But if you pull back and she doesn't even blink, if she seems perfectly content with the distance, then brother, you were never a priority. You were a placeholder, and placeholders get replaced the moment something better walks into the room. Sign number 4. She talks about the future in a way that includes you. Not in some overt, heavy way. Not "let's get married" or "I see us together forever," but small things. "We should check out that new restaurant when it opens." "You'd really like this band I just found. We should go to a show sometime. I feel like you'd get along with my best friend." These are breadcrumbs of inclusion. These are signals that when she imagines her life moving forward, you're in the picture, even if it's blurry, even if she's not ready to define it. She's mentally rehearsing a reality where you're still around. And that's significant. Because a woman who's planning to phase you out doesn't invite you into her future, even casually. She keeps things in the present tense. She talks in hypotheticals that never land. She's vague about plans and non-committal about time. But a woman who sees you as part of what's coming, she'll drop those hints without even realizing it. She'll paint pictures that have you in them. And your job is to notice that. Your job is to recognize the difference between a woman who's enjoying the moment and a woman who's imagining more. And here's the nuance. She might not be ready to fully commit to that future. She might still be scared. She might still be figuring things out. But the fact that her brain is even going there, that's the sign. That's the indicator that this isn't just a surface-level connection for her. That's the proof that she's considering you seriously, even if she hasn't said it out loud. So when you hear those small, forward-looking statements, don't dismiss them. Don't overanalyze them into nothing. Just quietly note them. Let them inform your strategy. Because a woman who includes you in her future is a woman worth continuing to pursue within reason, with dignity, and with boundaries. Sign number 5. She respects your boundaries and responds positively when you assert yourself. This is the one that separates women who are genuinely interested from women who just like the power of your attention. Because a woman who actually values you will respond to your self-respect with more respect. When you say no to something that doesn't work for you, she doesn't punish you for it. She doesn't withdraw, she doesn't guilt you, she adjusts. She might even be impressed, but a woman who's just using you as an emotional utility, she'll resent your boundaries, she'll push back, she'll frame your standards as you being difficult or selfish or not caring enough. And that tells you everything you need to know. Because real attraction doesn't diminish when you stand firm, it grows. A woman who's drawn to you on a deep level doesn't want a man who bends himself into shapes to keep her comfortable. She wants a man who knows his worth and acts like it. She wants a man who can say, "I'm not available for that," without apology or explanation. She wants a man who values his time and energy enough to protect it. So test this. Not in a petty way. Not as some kind of power play, but in real life. When she asks for something that doesn't align with your priorities, politely decline. When she tries to keep you in an ambiguous zone that serves her but costs you, clarify your position. When she's inconsistent and it's affecting your peace, address it calmly. And then watch what she does. If she respects it, if she meets you with maturity, if she starts showing up more intentionally, you've got someone who's capable of a real relationship. But if she spirals, if she plays the victim, if she tries to manipulate you back into compliance, then you're dealing with someone who values control over connection. And that's not a woman you want to win. That's a woman you need to release. Now let's talk about what all 5 of these signs actually mean when you see them together. Because individually, any one of them could be noise, could be circumstance, could be her being polite or nostalgic or bored. But when you see multiple signs, when she's initiating some contact, sharing real things, reacting to your distance, including you in her future, and respecting your boundaries, then you're not looking at ambiguity anymore. You're looking at a woman who's conflicted, not indifferent. You're looking at someone who wants you but is afraid, or unsure, or dealing with something internal that has nothing to do with your value. And that is the only scenario where continued pursuit makes sense. Because in that scenario, you're not chasing someone who doesn't want you. You're giving space and patience to someone who does want you but needs time to get out of her own way. But here's the catch. And this is where most men lose the plot. Even when the signs are there, your pursuit cannot come from desperation. It cannot come from fear of losing her. It cannot come from a place of proving your worth. Because the moment your energy shifts into neediness, the moment she feels you gripping instead of inviting, all those signs evaporate. She'll pull back, she'll shut down. Not because she stopped caring, but because neediness is repellent on a biological level. It signals low value. It signals scarcity. It signals that you don't believe you're enough, so why should she? So your pursuit has to be rooted in something else entirely. It has to be rooted in clarity, in intention. In the simple reality that you've assessed the situation, you've seen the signs, and you've decided from a place of abundance, not lack, that she's worth your continued attention. Not because you need her, but because you choose her. And that shift in energy from chasing to choosing, that's what changes everything. So what does that look like practically? It means you stay in your purpose, you stay in your life. You don't orbit her existence waiting for her to make up her mind. You build, you grow, you pursue your goals, you invest in your friendships, you take care of your body, you develop your skills, and from that grounded place you reach out, you create opportunities for connection. You invite her into your world without making her the center of it. You're warm, but not desperate. You're available, but not at her beck and call. You're consistent, but not smothering. You become the kind of man who's easy to say yes to because there's no pressure, no weight, no unspoken demand that she fix your emptiness. You're just solid, present, clear about what you want, but not attached to when or how it happens. And that energy, that calm, self-assured, non-needy energy, that's magnetic. That's what cuts through her confusion and her fear and makes her realize that walking away from you would actually be the risk, not staying. And here's the part where I need you to be really honest with yourself. Because if you've read this far and you're trying to retrofit the signs onto a situation where they don't exist, you're lying. If she never initiates, if she never shares anything real, if your absence doesn't register, if she never mentions the future, if she punishes your boundaries, then the signs aren't there. And that means the answer is already no. She's already decided. You're just refusing to accept it, because accepting it means feeling the loss, means admitting you were wrong about her, means starting over. And I get it, that's painful. But you know what's more painful? Spending the next 6 months convincing yourself that if you just try harder, if you just say the right thing, if you just wait a little longer, she'll suddenly see you differently. She won't. People don't miss what they never valued. And a woman who's indifferent to you now will be indifferent to you later, no matter how much you improve or prove or perform. So this is where you have to choose reality over comfort. This is where you have to be the man who can look at the truth and act accordingly, even when it hurts. Because that's what self-respect looks like. Self-respect isn't about ego. It's not about pride. It's about refusing to participate in your own diminishment. It's about saying, I will not beg someone to see my value. I will not negotiate my way into someone's heart. I will not tolerate ambiguity that costs me my peace. And when you live from that place, when you make decisions from that place, you stop wasting time on people who don't choose you, and you create space for the people who do. But if the signs are there, if you've honestly assessed the situation, and you can see real evidence of her internal conflict, real evidence of her interest mixed with fear, then yes, keep trying. But do it like a man who knows his worth. Do it with patience and boundaries and self-respect. Do it without sacrificing your peace. Do it without making her your entire emotional world. Do it as an invitation, not a demand. And if she eventually steps through that door, great. You've won someone who's genuinely choosing you, not someone you convinced or coerced or weighted into submission. And if she doesn't? If she stays stuck in her fear or her confusion or her indecision? Then you've lost nothing, because you never abandoned yourself in the process. You never became a smaller version of yourself to fit into her uncertainty. You stayed whole, and that means you're ready for the woman who won't need 5 signs to know she wants you. You're ready for the woman who sees you and just says yes. Let me paint you a picture of that man, the one who handles this situation correctly. He's not frantic. He's not checking his phone every 10 minutes. He's not replaying conversations, looking for hidden meanings. He's not asking his friends to interpret her last message. He's not stalking her social media, trying to figure out if she's seeing someone else. He's just living. He's working on the business he's building. He's in the gym. He's reading. He's spending time with people who energize him. He's laughing. He's growing. And when he thinks about her, it's not with desperation, it's with calm curiosity. I wonder if she'll figure it out. I hope she does. But if she doesn't, I'll be fine. That's the energy. That's the posture. And from that posture, when he does reach out, it's effortless. It's light. There's no heavy subtext. There's no covert contract. He's just creating a moment of connection and seeing if she steps into it. And if she does, cool. If she doesn't, he's back to his life without a second thought. That's the man women regret losing. That's the man they realize they should have chosen. Not because he chased them down, but because he was so clearly fine without them that they had to ask themselves, wait, do I actually want to lose him? And here's the brutal truth that ties all of this together. Most men never become that man. They stay stuck in the anxious, reactive, approval-seeking version of themselves that repels the women they want. They keep doing the same things, over-texting, over-explaining, over-investing, and wondering why the outcome never changes. And it's because they fundamentally misunderstand what attraction is. They think attraction is built through effort, through persistence, through proving how much they care. But attraction is built through presence, through self-possession, through being someone whose life is so full and so compelling that being part of it feels like a privilege, not a burden. You can't logic someone into wanting you. You can't negotiate someone into desire. You can't earn your way into her heart like it's a transaction. You can only become the kind of man she'd be crazy to let go of, and then let her decide. So here's what you do right now. You take an honest inventory. You look at your situation without the distortion of hope or fear. You ask yourself, are the 5 signs there, really there? Not the signs you wish were there. Not the signs you're reading into neutral behavior. The actual signs. She initiates. She shares. She reacts. She includes you. She respects you. If the answer is yes, then you have permission to keep trying, but only from a place of strength. You reach out when it feels right. You create space for connection. You stay consistent but not desperate. You let her see who you are without performing, and you give it a reasonable amount of time, not years, not an indefinite waiting period. A reasonable window for her to work through whatever's holding her back. And if she doesn't step up within that window, you move on. No bitterness, no resentment, just a clean release. But if the answer is no, if the signs aren't there, if you're just hoping they'll appear, if you're rationalizing away her disinterest, then you stop. Today, right now, you stop texting, you stop checking in, you stop creating reasons to interact, you let the silence sit, and you redirect every ounce of energy you were spending on her back into yourself. You grieve if you need to. You feel the loss, but you don't stay there. You move, you rebuild. You remind yourself that your value isn't determined by one person's inability to see it. And you trust that the right woman, the woman who doesn't need convincing, who doesn't need 5 signs to know she wants you, is out there. And she's waiting for you to become the man who's no longer distracted by someone who was never going to choose him. Because here's the final truth. You are the answer. Not her validation, not her approval. You, the version of you that's so grounded in your worth that other people's indecision doesn't shake you. The version of you that can pursue what you want without losing yourself in the process. The version of you that knows when to stay and when to walk, and has the courage to do both. That's the man you're becoming. That's the man this process is forging. And every situation, whether it works out or it doesn't, is just another repetition in that becoming. So take the lesson, apply the discernment, make the decision, and move forward like the man you're meant to be. And if you know you need more of this, more clarity, more truth, more reminders that cut through the noise and bring you back to center, hit that subscribe button, because this isn't just a channel. It's a community of men who are choosing reality over delusion, strength over desperation, and self-respect over validation. Men who know that the right path isn't always the easy one, but it's always the one that builds you into someone you're proud to be. So subscribe, stay locked in, and let's keep building the kind of life where you're not chasing, you're choosing. And the people who are meant for you are choosing you right back. You've got this. Now go do the work.